All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about the Giants. We'll talk about Daniel Jones and the Giants releasing him. I know I got into a little bit of it on Friday when the news officially broke. He did clear waivers, so now he's a free agent. We'll see where he ends up. Wants to go to a contender, so maybe a team like the Ravens could pick him up. Or I saw the Ravens and the Vikings maybe being a possibility. Also, if he wants to go to a contender, you got those teams. But Raiders kind of need a quarterback to finish out the year because Gardner Minshew is going to be out with the broken collarbone. There's no Aiden O'Connell, and you got Desmond Ridder. So I don't know what they're going to do, and they got a game on Friday. So Daniel Jones will have options, and he will end up on another team. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, the Giants ended up releasing him, and he did kind of say his goodbyes. He had like a letter that he wrote when he addressed the media and read it out loud. And yeah, I think after the Giants kind of embarrassed him with the having him be the safety on the scout team. And not only was he not the backup or the third string, they made him fourth string. So he just, he did the right thing. He went to John Mara. He requested his release, and they granted it for him. Yeah, and then we go into the weekend. You got Tommy DeVito starting, and the Giants just got run all over. They were non-competitive in the game. They ended up losing to the Buccaneers 30-7. Just ugly football by them. And it looks like they're not going to win another game. They have not won a home game all year. The only two games that they won were against the Browns. And I still don't know how they beat the Seahawks in Seattle. I'm still trying to figure that out. But they did do that. But Tommy DeVito, 21 of 31 for 189 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He ended up getting sacked on the day. I believe it was 8 times. Oh, why did I think he got sacked more? He got sacked only 4 times. I thought he got sacked more than that. But anyways, he took a lot of hits though. And the Giants just really could not get anything going offensively. Malik Neighbors, I think, was quiet in the first half, and then they finally got him the ball. He ended up being their leading receiver. He had 6 receptions for 64 yards. But the Giants didn't score a touchdown until the fourth quarter. And the Giants as a team, total offense, they had 245 yards. Right? Saquon Barkley had more than that by himself, which was something people talked about. The Bucs had 450 yards of total offense against them. They ran the ball for 156 yards. They had 4 rushing touchdowns. You had 1 by Rachaad White, 1 by Bucky Irving, 1 by Baker Mayfield, 1 by Sean Tucker. And Baker Mayfield did the Tommy Cutlets celebration, which people didn't like. And my response to that is this. Look, if the Giants were a good football team, that wouldn't have happened. So, I really didn't think it was that big of a deal. I know my parents were mad about it, and I said that's the thing I said to them. I said if the Giants were a good team, then it wouldn't have happened. So, but yeah, just non-competitive, and the Giants were putting together a nice drive at one point, and then they decide to run a wildcat with Tyrone Tracy, and then he fumbles. I really don't understand why you're running that play, but that's what they decided to do. Also, the Giants defense, no sacks. A lot of missed tackles. Bucky Irving had a big run in this game. The Bucs were backed up way deep in their own territory, and I don't know how the Giants, just the tackling on that play was horrendous. And he had Baker Mayfield throwing blocks for him downfield. It was just an ugly, ugly game. And after the game, you have Malik Neighbors, saying that, calling them soft. The Giants also saying that, it's not just the quarterback. The same stuff was going on while Daniel Jones was still the quarterback. But yeah, this is some of the stuff that Malik Neighbors was saying. So yeah, he called the Giants soft. Then he said, first, second quarter, I don't get the ball. Start getting targets at the end. I mean, can't do anything. Start getting the ball when it's 30-0. What do you want me to do? And, he also said, it's not just the quarterback. He said, talk to Daves about that. They come up to me and ask me what plays I want, and that was that. I don't know. It's just, yeah, obviously it's not the quarterback. Same outcome when we had DJ quarterback. Take a look. It's not the quarterback. And, a lot of players are not happy with the releasing of Daniel Jones. And, I mean, at some point you do have to get over it. But, look, Daniel Jones didn't play well. Daniel Jones played well. He would still be the quarterback. But he's not. He's gone. He was not the answer. And it's unfortunate, because I was hoping he would prove me wrong, but he didn't. He was not good this year. And maybe he goes somewhere else and he ends up, being better. I hope so, for his sake. But it just didn't work here. And players got to get over it, unfortunately. But now you have a situation where the Giants might not win a game for the rest of the year. Most likely are not going to win a game the rest of the year. And are they going to keep Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen? I feel like if they end up losing every single game from here on out and they're just non-competitive, you got to make a change. As much as I don't want them to, but I feel like when we see Daboll speak, he's talking like the previous Giants head coaches that didn't last very long. And once you start doing that, you're going to lose the fan base. It seems like you already lost the locker room. There's got to be changes. And Joe Schoen looks really bad right now. Now, when I saw Hard Knocks, I said, all right, the Giants have a vision. Okay? They're going to build both sides of the line, offensive line and defensive line. They went out and they signed a couple of offensive linemen. They traded for Brian Burns. Tyrone Tracy looks like he's going to be a good player coming out of the backfield. So, yeah, I mean, not bringing back Saquon Barkley was the right move. But what Barkley's doing right now, and not even just that, look at the season that Xavier McKinney is having right now. Could be up for Defensive Player of the Year. You see how these guys are doing elsewhere. You let them go. It really makes you look bad. Now, Saquon Barkley on the Giants would still be a bad football team. Saquon would be having a good year, but he would not be having as nearly of a good year as he is in Philadelphia if he was still with the Giants. He would not have ran the ball for 255 yards on Sunday against the Buccaneers. He was not doing that. He's running behind the best offensive line that he's ever had as a pro. He would not have had it with the Giants. Because the offensive, if they would have kept Barkley, the offensive lineman that the Giants did get, they would not have been able to re-sign or sign them. And then Barkley would be running behind an even worse offensive line. The Giants' offensive line was not that bad this year. But once Andrew Thomas went down, everything's kind of fallen apart. And, yeah, it's just, like I said in previous shows, I'm happy that Barkley's doing well because the Giants were not going to maximize his talent. They weren't. So we got to get over it. Everybody's got to get over it. I said we, but Giants fan base has got to get over it. I think most of the fans are over it, but the media continue to talk about it. And it just, they paint this picture like the Giants look foolish for letting him go. I mean, yeah, I guess the season he's having, but he would not have been having this season with the Giants. He just wouldn't be. Giants are not a good team like Philadelphia is. So, yeah, there could be a lot of changes. And I've said this before, but if John Mara has to make decisions on who's going to be the next GM and head coach again, the fan base is not going to trust him. Because this is now, if you let them go, You went from McAdoo to Shermer to Joe Judge to Daboll. You had Gettleman and Joe Schoen with the GMs. And a little bit of Jerry Reese. Because Jerry Reese was still the general manager when McAdoo became the head coach. The Giants have been a mess. And the fan base is not going to trust John Mara to get it right this time. So, I don't know. I mean, for me, I was saying no matter what happens, because I thought the Giants would at least be competitive, a little bit competitive this year. I thought, okay, as long as they're a little bit competitive, then you move off of Daniel Jones and then you draft your quarterback. But now, they might not even be the ones to draft the quarterback. Might be a whole new regime. So, I don't know. It's a mess. New York football's a mess. I mean, we're going to talk about the Jets a little bit later, but it's just not looking good. It's not. Brian Daboll looks like he's lost the locker room, and if that's the case, he's definitely on a path towards being let go after the season. And it's disappointing because the Giants a couple years ago, there was hope, there was optimism, but that's all gone now. They're back to where they have usually been for the last 8 years. So, yeah, but I hope Daniel Jones finds a team and, he gets, he's taken care of better. Because the Giants did wrong by him. Now, again, he wasn't very good, but the Giants did not handle the situation properly. And just like they didn't handle the Eli situation properly either when they benched him the first time for Geno Smith. They just continue to make the wrong decisions. And, yeah, Hard Knocks, that was the worst thing that they could have did. They fooled me because I thought, all right, I mean, I could see what they're trying to do. But not anymore. So, we'll see what happens, but let me know what you guys think, though, about the Giants, about the loss on Sunday, Malik Neighbors' comments, them releasing Daniel Jones. Do you think Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are back next year? I think it's looking more likely that they might not be. I mean, John Mara has said that he's going to keep him, but, I mean, if you finish the season 2-15, you're going to have to make some changes. So, anyways, before we go to break, I just want to remind you guys once again to tip or donate, get your comments recognized. Make sure to hit that super chat button in the chat if you want to see me acknowledge any thought or comment you may have throughout the live broadcast. Makes the show more lively, more entertaining between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. We appreciate you guys' viewership each and every day, so any contribution you can make to the show means the world to us as we put out content for you guys each and every day. And also, the other way to help out the show is by going to the link at the bottom of the show segment on the ticker, GSMCPodcast.net. That is GSMCPodcast.net. So when we come back from our next break, we will discuss the Texans and their loss to the Tennessee Titans. And, it's time to worry about the Texans. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.